Did you know that the church building is composed of three spaces? The first is narthex, then there is nave or temple of the faithful, and there is the sanctuary. Narthex is the first one. Actually, when you enter into the church, usually you enter through the narthex. It's kind of like the small corridor hall that represents our passage from our worldly life, our worries, when we enter into the God's presence. Also, historically, this was the place where the penitents or those who were preparing for the baptism remained during the services. And also, there's two sacraments that starts in narthex. It's the sacrament of the baptism, and actually here there is that rite of renunciation of Satan and declaration of desire to be united to Christ. And the sacrament of matrimony also starts in narthex, and then there is procession of the couple into the nave. The biggest part of the temple, the church building, is the called nave or the temple of the faithful. It represents the fullness of church because we as Christians and faithful are present here, sitting in the pews or just filling the space. Sacraments of crowning in marriage, baptism, chrismation happens here. We come here to pray, but also it's not area only for to represent the church that still lives on earth, but it's also a way of representing the church that in heaven, because we have the iconography on the walls, and usually on the top there is Pantocrator, Christ that holds everything. So basically representing that all entire church are under the good care of our Heavenly Father. The central part of the sanctuary is the altar. As the sanctuary represents the heaven, the altar represents the throne of God. But also it represents the table of the mystical supper and the tomb of Christ. And actually there is a long connection between the altar and the tomb, because the first Christians, when they were hiding from the persecution, they prayed the divine liturgy over the tombs of the martyrs. For this reason, until today, every time the altar gets consecrated, there is parts of the body of the saint called relics put into the altar. If not in the altar, they are on the special cloth called antimension. Behind the altar there is a high chair on which only bishops can sit, which represents the throne and invisible presence of Christ, who always present in his church. And there is also two side tables. On one side there is a table for proscomedia, and another side there is a table when used for fasting, or sometimes they used